Hello everyone, today we had a new expansion in Pokemon trading card game Pocket, and with that came a plethora of new cards, a lot of exciting cards that I want to dive into and experiment with and try out. I want to do a Palkia, a Darkrai. I want to do maybe Darkrai, Weezing, and some other dark Pokemon in there. There's a lot of cool ideas that I want to experiment with. But the one that I wanted to showcase first was a steel deck, kind of. It's a Skarmory Farfetch'd aggro deck. Now, that is all that we have in the deck. We don't have any evolutions. We're just having early, raw, high damage or decent damage output. And so if the opponent is throwing or kind of limping some weaker Pokemon in there and hoping to evolve them and build them up over time, we're going to be doing that consistent damage that's not going to allow them to do that. We can also do some chip damage onto their like big tanky guys like Moltres or Druddigon. And then when they pivot it out, we can force it back into play with the Cyrus, which is one of my favorite support cards from the new expansion. Then we have 4 Poketools to mainly be used for Skarmory, but also nice for the Farfetch'd, being able to either give him a little bit of extra tankiness or be able to turn him into kind of a pseudo Druddigon that is also doing 40 damage turn with the Rocky Helmet. If you decided to add in another steel Pokemon that could do kind of some big pivot damage, I would say probably stay away from Dialga EX. In this particular steel build, we don't need the extra energy, so we don't need his ramp up. If you wanted to, you could do something like the Registeel, which is a basic Pokemon, pretty tanky at 110 health, and then takes 3 steel energy to be able to attack for a 90 damage. It's decent. You're going to be able to have your Skarmory or your Farfetch'd up, and then have him in the backline as you're building up that extra energy. Now, the one kind of thing to note is the more basic Pokemon you add into the deck, the more likely you are to whiff that early game damage. And so my favorite thing with this deck is you get in and out of games very, very quickly. And so each one has a 1 energy attack, so you're attacking the first turn you can attach energy no matter what, whether that be 40 damage or 50 if you have the Skarmory and Poketool, but you're doing a lot of threat and a lot of pressure every single game very consistently. In my testing, I did 10 games. I lost 2. I lost both of them to Lucario builds. I beat a lot of Lucario builds along the way, but the 2 that I lost, one was a Lucario Kabutops, and we just couldn't out-damage the healing that Kabutops could do, and so we weren't able to really deal with it. Even after taking out the Lucario, Kabutops was healing 50 damage every turn. We were dealing 50 damage, and so then it was just a wash. The other Lucario deck that we lost to was the new Ralts evolution. They were able to get him online just in time, and it was 170 health. We couldn't find a way to do enough damage quickly enough to knock it out before we lost our Pokemon. They were able to one-hit KO everything that we threw up because they had a Lucario and the Ralts evolution, and we just couldn't really address it. Otherwise, absolutely clean sweeps, most of the time getting in and out of games in 3 minutes or less, which I think is so much fun for me. It is a much quicker game. I can jump in without kind of the fear of it taking, 10 minutes on the long end, which a lot of times Weezing decks, because it is a good stall tool, end up kind of leaning towards that. But we're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple games. What are your favorite new cards? What's your favorite deck so far with the new expansion? I would love to hear what you're playing. I'm going to be doing a lot of experimentation, and so a lot more videos will be coming very, very soon as we find new cool ways to build and utilize the new cards. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. Rapidash, which... Ooh, and then a Sabrina is a very interesting call as well. I'm going to go ahead and put out our, I guess, next Skarmory. There is a chance that we pull into another Poketool, and then we don't need to do any kind of pivoting. Otherwise, we just attach an energy onto Skarmory and then retreat him out. Or if we draw our 1x speed, we could utilize that as well. Tails, beautiful. All right, double tails, 1 heads, and so adding on to the Rapidash, we love to see it. And then the giant cape giving us that little bit of tankiness. Let's go ahead and add here. We're going to go ahead and add on the giant cape because we can. And I'm not going to do the Giovanni because it's not going to be a difference maker for us here. And so we're just going to go with the regular attack. Now, if they have a singular potion, maybe we could also, when they pivot out the Moltres here, I assume that they probably want to do. Otherwise, they're kind of hurting. If they, I guess they couldn't really do any kind of attack unless they had an X speed or like a leaf or something to be able to get Moltres out for free or for what's on there now. But with the second energy attachment, I'm thinking they do not have it. And then into the Ponyta. I love to see it because that means we have a way to win. All we have to do is knock out the Ponyta with Giovanni. And then next turn, we use Cyrus to bring in the Moltres, and then we just win. It feels like we're not doing anything. It's just so much early damage. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure why they didn't throw in the Rapidash, because then they could have at least... I guess they could have tanked only one attack, and they wouldn't really have had much of an answer after that. But the Rapidash is back in. They can knock out our Skarmory, but that gives them the 1 point, and then Cyrus is going to give us our remaining 2 points that we need, because none of the other Pokemon will have damage on it. It's beautiful. And there's not... I mean, we may not lose the Skarmory. But it's a 50-50, yeah. We do lose the Skarmory, which is fine. Because we have the backup, just big behemoth that is ready to do damage. We could also use Farfetch'd to finish off the game, since the Moltres only has 40 health left. But I want to do it in style with some flair. We're going to use Skarmory. We have Sabrina, but we get the guaranteed of Cyrus, making them put in the Pokemon that we want, and then we're going to win. Goodness, the burstiness of this is so much fun. We will take the quick victory, about a 3-minute victory versus some decks that can go on like 8 to 10 minutes. We'll take a 3-minute win. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we are going up against Mewtwo himself, running a dark deck, so it could be a wheezing Darkrai, which is one of the more interesting lines that I have wanted to play around with. And so Darkrai being that like kind of just consistent damage output, you attach energy to him and you do damage, create some really cool lines for sure. So we don't get to attach the first energy, which is unfortunate for sure. Let's go Professor's Research to get a little bit more depth. We have the double potion to help us gain a little bit of stall. And then we have the double giant cape. So let's go ahead and attach the giant cape now. No, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's back and forth on it. We're going to go ahead and attach the giant cape. That brings our Skarmory up to 100 health. We have the potions to heal up any of the damage that they're doing by attaching energy to the Darkrai. Now, I'm curious what their like secondary line here is, because my idea was like a wheezing, because then you have the Koga, you have that kind of body to have in the front line. It's a cheap energy, which with Darkrai I think is going to be important. You want something that you don't really have to commit too much to. And so we don't get to see what card they switch out with their communication tool. Ooh, a Krogunk and a Sneasel. And so the Sneasel being in that evolution line is good. I think is really good with Darkrai. And then Krogunk is interesting. They do have the Rocky helmet, which is a bit unfortunate for us. It is going to take us 3 attacks to destroy their Darkrai. But you know what? I think it is what it is. Go ahead and attach. Use a potion here. And between the Rocky helmet and the ability from Darkrai, we're taking a lot of chip damage. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. We do bring him down to 90. So if we can take out the Darkrai, then maybe we can clean up somewhere else. The kind of benefit that we have is we have no EX Pokemon in this deck. It's just all basic, just aggro style of cards. And so no matter what, we can lose up to 3. They do have the Toxicroak. Interesting. And so with 2, you could do up to, my goodness, you can do up to a gazillion damage with this thing. Oof, okay, it is what it is. Let's attach onto the backup Skarmory. I'm gonna go ahead and do a... Do we do a potion? No. And I think the reason for it, I think the reason we don't do a potion is because it's gonna take them 2 heads to beat us regardless. Even if we heal up to 80 damage, because we'll take the 20 from the Rocky Helmet. Man, that Rocky Helmet is putting in work for him. I guess that's going to be probably the bane of like aggro style of decks. All right, so Skarmory's down to 60. We do have the backup one. We'll see. Ooh, they attach onto the Darkrai, and so maybe they have a Dawn. No. No. Okay. We'll take it. So they just retreat out the Darkrai. If we get a Cyrus at any point, one of our 2 Cyruses, we can make them pull that Darkrai back in, which is beautiful. There is the Cyrus. Let's go with a Pokeball just to pull out our last Farfetch'd. And we have the Giant Cape. Do we ever pivot into the backup one? I guess it would take them 3 heads to be able to win against our backup Skarmory. You know what? We're going to do it. Let's go ahead and attach onto the Skarmory just because everything is so cheap. And then retreat them out for this one. Throw on the Giant Cape. And so now they need 3 heads instead of 2. And we're still going to do the 50 damage. We have a Giovanni if we ever needed to do just a little bit more. But in this instance, we don't necessarily need it. Bring them down to 40. And we have them... I don't know. We have them somewhat on the ropes. There's 1 out of 4, 2. They needed 3 because of our Skarmory, which is beautiful. That means they do not have a point yet. All we have to do is attack, throw in Cyrus to make them bring in the Darkrai, and we win. Let's do the potion just so that them attaching an energy onto Darkrai is not going to kill us, kill off our Skarmory. And so then they'd be able to get an easy 2 points on us. So let's throw in, I guess, the backup Farfetch just because. And we'll add on the energy. And then we'll knock out their Toxicroak. And they'll probably bring in, I don't know who they bring in. Maybe the Snivy. Or if they have a Dawn, they could go ahead and do the Krogunk, but bring in the Sneasel. And if they evolve, I think the evolution is Snivy EX, which is a pretty good one alongside the Darkrai kind of combo. But it is an EX Pokemon, so they'd be at risk of losing that one too. So the Toxicroak is fine. Sneasel. I mean, they could kill us here, right? Flip 2 coins, plus 20 damage for each. We may get away with with not losing a single Pokemon. Double Tails, unfortunate for them for sure. And we're going to be able to take this entire battle without losing a single Pokemon. Let's go Cyrus, which is my new favorite card. Cyrus is going to be so devastating for those kind of slow ramp-up decks that want to have a big beefy guy and then switch him into the backline after building something else up. Cyrus is going to be that Bane, so Moltres decks. Something like that, or sometimes like a Pikachu deck where they're very flexible and can pivot very easily. You can force them into really tricky spots. And so we're going to take the win. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first here, which we don't like to see with this deck. They're running a dark deck, which is going to have quite a bit of kind of early damage, which is definitely unfortunate for us. We get the Rocky Helmet, which is going to give us a little bit of protection against any kind of chip damage that they might have. Let's go Professor's Research, and we'll see. Second Skarmory is nice, and then the Giovanni. Go ahead and throw him down onto the board. We shouldn't have, should we? Just in case they have a Sabrina. Oh well. If they have Sabrina, then we pop a Professor's Research. We hope to find one of our other 3 Poketools, and we might be fine. But with Sabrina, they wouldn't take that chip damage. And so depending on how many heads they flip here, we'll determine if we want to use a potion or not. 1 and 1, that is fine. We are taking as much damage as they do, and we're able to kill off their... Wait, we win. Hold on. That was definitely not an ideal play from my friend here. I'm not even gonna do Professor's research for a Pokeball. We'll just into the game. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first again. Unfortunate, like second is definitely best for us with this deck, but it is what it is. The Riolu, the only one of these decks that I've had an issue with is when I ran into one that ran a Kabutops, because Kabutops can do a lot of bad things to us. Let's go ahead and throw on the Rocky Helmet since we do have a backup one and we have a backup Giant Cap. So our Skarmorys are going to be guaranteed to be able to have those Poketools. It turns our Farfetch'd into a Druddigon, which, speaking of Druddigon, I think is going to be very scary with the Rocky Helmet. So any kind of like small damage decks are going to just struggle against Druddigon now. 20 is, manageable. 40 becomes much scarier. And so they go ahead and throw out a Marshadow and then another Riolu. Are they going to go ahead and attack? Or are they just going to skip? Yeah, they skip. Okay, perfectly fine. We get a Farfetch'd. Let's go Professor's Research, Potion, and then our another Giovanni. So we can't find our Skarmory or our Pokeballs to save our lives. That's fine. We don't necessarily need them. Farfetch'd is a great early game damage dealer, especially with the Rocky Helmet, meaning if they attack us with this Riolu, they die. We'll see. And so I would assume they attach an energy onto the Marshadow. It would be my guess, just so that they could do like a big pivot hit after we take out their Riolu, or maybe Lucario if they evolve it. All right, so they evolve the backline Lucario, or Riolu, into Lucario. Oh, and then they attach energy onto him and not the Marshadow, which is honestly great for us, because Riolu is going to die here. They can't attack with the Marshadow, and so they're either just leave him in, like hanging him out to dry, or they put in Lucario and start kind of risking his health and life a little bit. Which either way, man, another giant cape. I need a little bit of help. We could do Potion. This is gonna do 60 damage if they attack. This one's gonna do 60 damage if they attack. So it doesn't necessarily matter too much, I suppose. We could do a Sabrina pivot into the 40 damage, which could give us that alternate way to win, especially if we end up drawing a Cyrus next. But I like the idea of taking out the Marshadow as well. I'm going to go ahead and do the Sabrina. I'm really missing our Skarmory. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and slap him in the face with the leak. Farfetch'd doing all kinds of just dirty damage. So Pokeball. Draw out one of their basics. Hitmonchan, which with Lucario on the board ends up being pretty strong. Does 50 damage like attacks. 1 X speed, so they're still gonna waste their... Yep. They're gonna waste their 1 energy. And so now both of these backlines are 2 turns from being up and operational. We do the chip damage onto the Hitmonchan, which brings him down to 60 if we can find a Skarmory here. So Pokeball or Skarmory, we have 4 out of 8 chances to find the one. There it is, the Skarmory, the one, the only. Let's go ahead and retreat into the Skarmory. We do have Giovanni, and it doesn't really matter. We could do Giant Cape, but they're not, or we can do the Rocky Helmet, but they're not in attacking range. So I'm going to do Giant Cape to give us a little bit more tankiness. And attach the Steel Energy, go Giovanni, knock out the Hitmonchan. And so if somebody is trying to out speed or out aggro us, this deck just shuts them down. If they have any kind of like brick steel walls, sometimes this one can't keep up just because 60 is the upper end of the damage that it can do in one turn. So the Kabutops took me through, like, that's my, I think, one loss with this deck was against a Lucario Kabutops just because it out-healed pretty much everything that I could do. So the Marshadow, and then they do accept their fate here. We will gladly take the win. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first again, which, if you've been watching the video, you know that we don't necessarily care for. So they have grass-type deck. I haven't seen much of since the expansion. It could be, whoa, Weedle. Is that a free win? Because we have the add-on energy, we have the Giovanni to bring it up to 50. I mean, feels like a potential free win here. I'm not going to do the Giant Cape yet, because I would rather save it in case we draw the Skarmory. Because then, when we pivot out the Farfetch'd, it's one-hit KO onto the Weedle. Interesting. Weedle, I'm assuming the Beedrill line, and then Celebi. Feels wild. They can't evolve into Kakuna here. Go ahead and attack with the Weedle too. Okay. They're gonna be sadly disappointed. Let's go Pokeball. We'll be able to guarantee we pull out the Skarmory, which is great for us. They can evolve into Kakuna next turn. I don't know. Let's go Skarmory. Let's attach our energy. Let's go Giovanni to one-hit KO the Weedle. Then we'll see what their backup line is. And so this deck is going to definitely excel against anything that throws kind of those low bodies out onto the board early. If they throw those big, beefy tanks, sometimes it can still handle decently because of Cyrus. If it's something like Druddigon or something that can heal, it's hard for us to out-heal a lot of that damage. And so a lot of times Lucario decks are actually a little bit of a struggle for us. So Skarmory, we have the backup Giovanni, but I mean, we're not going to need it. Their poor Weedle, they attached energy onto him both times, and then that energy just gets disintegrated. So let's go Giant Cape with the extra health, which Poketools are super, super cool. Cyrus, I think, is going to be a staple in a lot of decks. And I think we have a good shakeup of the meta. I don't think it's exactly everything that we need, but I do think it will bring at least a lot of different techs and options into play. We do get the retreat. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, we are going second against an electric deck, which is a bit scary just because oh, never mind. Pikachu deck was going to be able to handle our Farfetch pretty easily, which was a scary bit. Dratini, not so much. Now, if they have a Druddigon with a Rocky Helmet, that gets very scary very fast. But we'll see. We'll see if they have that line, because 40 damage every time we attack is nothing to scoff at by any means. Let's go Pokeball. Get our Skarmory. Love to see it. We have X speed, so if we can find a Poketool with this Professor's Research, we can do 50 instead of 40. And we do. We find the Giant Cape. So let's go Skarmory. Oh, X speed. Get the Farfetch'd out of that front line. And we're going to be doing 50 damage, a hit onto Dratini. And if they pivot it out, retreat it out, throw something else, we have Cyrus. And so their Dragonite line is not going to be functioning very well at all. Let's go with our attack, and I feel like this is going to be another quick win. Now, they could have Druddigon. If they find the Druddigon, that stall wall becomes very effective, but we'll see. Dragonair, so 50 health, but unless they can retreat it out, They do have the Leaf, if you believe it or not. They're going to be able to pull out the Dragonair for free. And they don't attach... Ooh, okay. So the potion helps them a lot there. Unfortunately, it helps them a lot. We could do Cyrus. You know what? I'm going to continue to pressure the Dragonair. I know we can't one-hit KO it. That's fine. If we had drawn a Giovanni, we could one-hit KO the Meowth, and then they're still in a tricky spot. But now, maybe if they evolve into the Dragonite, we can still manage it. That's our biggest hope here. So X-Feed, using everything that they can to get that Dragonair safely into the back line. And since it was up front, we're able to just continue pulling it back in with our Cyrus. They do have the Dragonite evolution. Wow. So the good thing is that has a pretty beefy retreat cost. And so now, unless they have a Leaf and an X-Speed, or they burn some of their energy, they're not able to pull it back in for free. So let's go ahead and build up this other Farfetch'd. And we could get a big body in here. Like we could throw a big body Pokemon. So like, I think Registill is one that takes 3 energy, does a pretty hefty 90 damage attack. But I never want to start with that, because I think it... Ooh, they do have another Leaf. My gosh. Well, they had all of the retreat tools they could have ever needed. As unfortunate as that is. Well, okay. So... we have one Sabrina left in our deck somewhere. It is what it is. All right, let's attach this. Can we? We can't override the giant cape that's on there. So let's do Metal Arms. If they don't have a heal, another heal. So they've already burnt one potion. If they don't have another heal, then we can knock out the Druddigon next turn. Pokeball. Okay, they're continuing to dig through their deck. They've burnt both Leafs and then one X-Speed. And so they can't get Druddigon out for free. Oof, man. Okay. So I'm just going to attach onto a Pokemon here. And then we're going to knock out the Druddigon. And then we'll see. Their Dragonite is going to be online on this upcoming turn. The good thing is, any one of our Pokemon can finish him off. Now, if they have a potion, we have to rely on the Giovanni, but we do have it in hand, so we don't have to rely on drawing it. See, let's see. The Dragonite comes up. Let's see. I assume that they just add on to him. This whole battle of theirs has been fighting to keep him alive. Okay, they knock out one Farfetch'd. I thought they hit like the perfect and like clean sweep, like wiped us out, but we're all good here. Let's go with a Pokeball. Get our next Skarmory. Gonna go ahead and throw Rocky Helmet onto him. Then we go Potion. That way the Meowth basic attack can't take out our frontline Skarmory just because. And build onto him. Knock out the Dragonite, and we should have the easy cleanup here. It took us a little bit longer, but that's because they did have a frontline tank wall with Druddigon. Now, if they had Rocky Helmet on Druddigon, maybe that could have changed the outcome or the pace of the battle. Who knows? But they had both Leafs to dodge our attacks. They had the X-Speed, and they had excellent dodging skills. I just don't think they're going to be able to bring it the rest of the way home. They have the follow-up Dratini. And I know some Dragonite decks don't actually run 2 Dragonites. Either way, if they have Meowth in the front line here, we can finish off the game. So let's go here. We could heal. We could attach an energy. We don't need to do any of those things. We're just going to put them out of their misery, knock out the Meowth. We will take the win. And that is actually where we're going to go ahead and end the video. This deck does phenomenally at getting in, getting out, and winning the games early. If they have too many big body Pokemon that you just can't quite gnaw your way through, those are easy to retreat out, lose, and then jump into a much more manageable match. And so very, very fun deck. My new favorite aggro deck. It used to be the Blaine aggro just to be able to like get a lot of burst damage out. This one is very consistently pumping just like that chip damage. Very consistent chip damage, which I absolutely love to see. We're going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you guys as always for being here. What are your favorite decks from the new expansion? I have almost all of the cards. I'm doing a lot of experimentation, so there's going to be a lot of videos. Make sure to stick around. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.